Hi everyone, this is Galen Martling. Today I'm sharing the Spellbinders Press Plus Foil of the month for January 2026. This is a beautiful press plate. It is a press plate that works with both Betterpress for inking techniques and also with the Glimmer Hot Foil System for hot foiling. Today I'm going to use it for hot foiling, but you can also put this in a Betterpress machine and ink it up. It has a registration acetate sheet that shows you how to line it up for different inking techniques. I'm going to show a way to use that registration acetate in a different way so that you can use it with the hot foil and the glimmer system without it melting. That's the look at the registration film, but we're not going to use the registration film directly on the glimmer system. We're going to make a copy of it, just a photocopy with a copy machine, trim it down and use that as a guide to place it inside or on top of the Glimmer Hot Foil System. And then you use that as a guide. I like to tape mine down just so that it doesn't move. I'm not really going to do any extra inky techniques, but I wanted to show you that some of the plates do come in different pieces that you can remove the plate and place it back, ink it with different things, different colors, or foil it with different colors. This one happens to be all one plate, but it's just the same prep. You just add that copy sheet right there onto the glimmer system, tape it down, and also line it up. So I'm lining up exactly where this goes, just in case I need to redo the foiling. It's all set. And then I like to go ahead and get that ready. And then you trim some hot foil of choice. This particular one comes with a roll of hot foil. And I'm going to use that. And I'm going to use a smooth white piece of color wheel cardstock. Before I do, I go ahead and tape just the very edge of this press and foil plate here. And then I'm going to get my die cutting machine and bring it over. I have the Platinum machine. The Platinum 6 works great too. Use what you have. Whatever die cutting machine you use, there is a shim that may help with getting it all so that it presses fine through the die cutting machine. But the die cutting machine is not going to cut. It's just going to press this beautiful plate image right into that cardstock, and it's going to have a beautiful foil shine. So we are going to get this set up here. I just go ahead and put my layers of plates from the glimmer system and sandwich the pieces of paper and the plate inside of that and run it through. Now on my Platinum, I use a shim. It comes with different plates. It also comes with a shim. You can also buy it extra if you don't have one. It just makes that Betterpress press and foil go through perfectly without any misses, if you will, in the foil. So I use a shim. And then you go ahead and carefully remove everything from the base there. It's very hot, so be careful. Here is my pretty foil design, and I have the foil taped as well and the paper too. And this is a beautiful postcard. The name of this is a postcard hello. It is the Press Plus Foil of the month for January 2026. And with the gold, you see it shimmers nicely. You can stop here and just use this as is without any other coloring. I am using the included stencil set, and I'm going to add color with stenciling. You can also use markers. If you use watercolor paper for this, you can watercolor. If you add water to some of the inks, it comes out nicely that way. I'm just choosing to go ahead and make it more of a vintage postcard look. To me, the look of it looks like it's vintage. So this particular set The Press Plus Foil of the month comes with sentiments. It is a one press system where you just press with a piece of foil and with a cardstock like we did with the plate, the bigger plate, and all of the sentiments press and foil at the same time. It comes with a die that die cuts these out at the same time. That's one of my favorite things, is to get multiple sentiments prepared and cut all at once. And I just keep a little baggie inside of the set, and I have extra sentiments for later on for different projects. I do have a bonus project coming up, and it is going to be with an Everbloom, which is the January 26th All Clubs Crate exclusive. And that is going to be the second project using that particular die set, Everbloom. And this theme, the theme for January is Bloom Bright Collection. And I'm just showing you three of the products, but the All Club Crate is a kit membership that includes all of the products in each month. They call it All Clubs Crate. That used to be called the Caboodle, but we are calling it All Clubs Crate. It's wonderful. So I'm just showing you three products, just showing you really how to hack the Betterpress so that you can use that registration onto the hot foil. There you go. You see all the sentiments pressed all at one time. That die is all one piece. So when you die cut it and you run it through your die cutting machine, it will cut those sentiments out all at once. You get beautiful sentiments. So you get 4 to choose from. This is like a male themed collection of products. And so this is really fun sentiments. I used, on the first card, I used greetings by post as a sentiment on the front. And then on the second card, I used a first class hello. Those are cute for mailing greetings. And so for the vintage look, I am using a lot of different ink cubes. I wanted the bird to pop in blue. And so I'm adding a layer of blue, a couple of different blue shades, and a gold and brown. Lots of colors you'll see me use. It's up to you. Use what you have as far as inks and supplies. And this technique, if you have any registration plates, you can use this tutorial for anything that you have on hand. If you just want to stamp something and you want to ink it with a stencil, this is an idea and a way to ink up your things. So I like to just go section by section, take my time, and then I go and clean that section of my stencil to get as much off as I can. I try to ink both sides. Now, I made a mess and I made a mistake, and some of the stencil went onto the cardstock. Not to worry, there's ways you can remove color or mask color or add something over it, like a sentiment. In my case, the ink blending took care of a lot of it when I'm going to ink blend later on to make it look very vintage. And I used a sand eraser. It's one of my little tips. If you make a mistake, you can kind of start sanding it away from the area and move on from there and mask it with different ink blending. That's what I did. I didn't want to start all over, not after all the foiling. So here we go. I'm just going to add some of the accent parts of this bird. And I'm doing it more of a golden shade. I have all the products listed on my blog and on YouTube. If you'd like particular something I'm using, just go down there. I don't have everything memorized right here, but to tell you, but there are lots of colors to choose from. And I have a little cube of an ink set cube in different shades and hues, and I grabbed those today for this project. I like it because some of the colors can match nicely with each other in each of these sets, and so I use them. I use some dark brown for some of the areas to make a lot of contrast. I wanted the bird to have a contrast because everything else is going to be real muted when I start the ink blending. So I wanted this bird to have really dark, bright colors. And I do use different ink blending brushes for this. I'm using small brushes. There's also detailed brushes out there that you can use for tiny areas, but my small brushes worked fine for what I needed. The only thing I do different with the brush before I ink blend is I cover up any of those open stencils sections you might see, because I don't want, if a stencil part or a section is close to another, I just put a piece of repositionable tape or that yellow tape over it, or mint tape, to make sure I'm not ink blending in an area I don't want. But that's how I made my mistake that I told you about earlier, and it was easy enough for me to correct. So we're doing the flowers now, and I like to, instead of using a couple different colors of red, I just use the darker shades on the edges, and I just went over the edges more than the center. Now I'm going to add a tiny little bit for the beak. Again, you can go as detailed as you want. Sometimes, you can do minimal coloring and leave the rest without color. That looks pretty too on a card. Just maybe highlight one thing like the bird. And then I decided to go ahead and color in the leaves with green. I think I used 2 shades of green, a dark and a light shade. And you just move it along, and I'm not showing all the cleaning, but I do clean it in between each of the colors or sections. I just use a baby wipe to clean it. And there is probably, instead of another color, it's just another layer of the same color. But I did choose a light and a dark green. I do that with a lot of my shades. I grab 2 shades in case I need it. I lay it out. And so you just finish all of those, the leaves, and then you start your ink blending. Once you're finished with the stenciling, make sure you clean off your stencil so that it doesn't get onto the rest of your desk and supplies. And then I added, with a large or a wide blending brush, I added some golden, a light yellow in the background all over and around the flowers and the bird. And I'm using a sticky mat to hold my project down so it doesn't move around. I like that. It gets messy. It stains for some reason, and not all the colors will wipe away clean. So it looks messy and ugly, but it still works just fine. You clean it off as best you can, but it's not going to come clean. But I don't care. It's something to make my desk cleaner and not get so messy. I'm going to use it. So this is a tan that I'm using, very light. I don't know the exact name that I used, but it's a very light beigey color. And then I go in with a dark color around the edges. So I have a light color toward all around, and then into the center, and then I go around the dark color towards the edges. To me, this is what I was thinking when I saw this plate. I saw vintage. So I'm not really a grungy kind of a crafter, but I did want to use it for this. And what you don't see yet is that gold shows through beautifully, and it will still shimmer after we're done with ink blending. It shimmers beautifully. I'll show you in a minute. And so the shimmer against the dark really does pop. I came in with a darker shade of yellow, and this just finished it off perfectly, I think, anyway. And so I just took my time with the blending. I just wanted it to be something that would make the bird pop, and I think it does. There's a butterfly in the top right. It's like a little stamp area that looks like a postage stamp. There's script in there that looks like an old-fashioned scripty postcard, and I just love it. So there it is. You see the shine? It's just so pretty. It really does stay on there, even with all the grunge. I did use a dry cloth. It's a sort of a cloth, craft cloth, that I go ahead and I rub away any excess ink blending, and so that the gold shimmers even better. That's so pretty. So this one is going to be the card front. So I trimmed down, I just used a paper trimmer to trim down this panel after I finished with the hot foiling, and I just made it be slightly smaller than an A2 size. I added some foam tape on the back, but this is a very thin foam tape. I didn't want it to pop too much off the page, but it does it does look nice, and you can see the difference, and it's not too flat. It's nice. So I'm adding some white splatter paint. I think this one is distress paint, but I'm almost out of it. There's also a splatter paint that I will link. I couldn't find the link for this one. I use a fan brush to just kind of tap, and it puts beautiful splatters on the front of this, just to further make it even more vintage looking. So that needed to be heat set with a heat tool completely before I put it on the card. Before I get to the pictures of the cards, I want to show you a bonus project that came in the Caboodle, not the Caboodle, but the All Club crate at Spellbinders. And this one is called Everbloom. It's in the Bloom Bright collection, and it's the exclusive. So if you get the All Clubs crate and all the monthly club kits in this All Clubs crate, you get this Everbloom die set. It's wonderful. It's several dies, including a big frame, all these big frame dies. You can easily use these in multiple projects individually or together. I'm going to use them going forward in different projects, even outside of this collection. I think it's something that I'll go to often because of the pretty frame. So I just glued down. I used some Barely Art glue, the tiny bit of glue, and I'm gluing down this front panel. I use colorable cardstock. I list the exact colors again on my supply sheet, on my supply list. If you're looking for these colors, I wanted something with high contrast, just so you can see the layers real good. And so that one it fits perfectly onto that base there, that scallop base. And there are intricate cuts that are so delicate looking. I thought they look like lace, so I cut them in white. And we're going to trim around the edges with the little intricate pieces at the top. But first I'm going to put this white panel in the middle because I'm going to add flowers on that center section. So I won't show all the gluing, but I did glue down. I just put little tiny dots of glue on these intricate pieces here. And this is going to add to the sides, to the top, and all around different parts of these die cuts. So in this project, I could have cut everything with different colors of cardstock. I chose to use ink blending for the flowers and die cutting the rest. So the flowers and leaves I prepared ahead of time. I cut everything in white cardstock for the flowers and leaves, and for these pieces I'm adding now. And when you do in white cardstock, it just kind of saves you a little bit of time. You can ink blend with dye inks or distress inks. I chose dye inks, and I went ahead and pre-assembled them with glue and some thin, narrow, micro foam tape pieces. And so these all just get placed, all around where you think there might be a swirl. Those swirls on the edges match up with the scalloped background. So pretty. So I just keep a caddy handy with all my small pieces so they don't get lost. I lose some sometimes. So I like a little caddy or basket of some sort to hold them all. until I'm ready to make the project. So I just place them all around. And I have one on the bottom that's facing up because I'm going to add a piece. So this set comes with this flower piece there. And I was contemplating on which one I wanted to use. I decided to use the second one because it matched the flowers on the sides. So I'm going to use that first piece of florals, that coral piece, later on a different project. But for today, this is what it's going to be. I put one of those hot foil sentiments that we did before, I used on this card. It was really long, so I just cut it with scissors so that I can have it be in 2 layers, but that's all one sentiment. It says a first class hello. And so I'm having the look of flowers coming out of that bottom flower, if you will. So I placed it all together on one. I hope you like these projects, and I hope you consider that All Clubs crate. It's wonderful. This is just a bonus that you get with it. Otherwise, I taught you how to do registration using the hot foiling without melting the plate. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye now.